they get hooked. That happens, yes. But once you get hooked, you are hooked. And it takes a lot of strength to fight this. To be looked down upon is not going to help it. Whenever I talked last year, I had 3 goals that I thought were actually very relevant and easy for anybody to do. Each individual person, I believe, could do these 3 goals. And if each of us would work on these 3 goals, we can make a difference. The first is to end the stigma. It's very simple. If you yourself can end the stigma and look at that person with empathy, try to put yourself in that person's place, you can help that. The stigma is pushing people away from rooms to get help. They're pushing families away that are trying to struggle with addiction, because it's not only the addict that's suffering, it's also the family of the addict. I know, my family knows, getting calls at 2, 3 in the morning from your loved one is not fun. It's not fun. Or the worst part is you're actually in the middle of the night waiting for that call. You're waiting for that door to open for them to come home. Are they going to make it today? Or am I going to get a call from the police saying that they're no longer here? It takes everybody. If we could all end the stigma and put ourselves into each other's place, that is one step. I believe that would make a huge difference. The other is to educate people. Events like this right here, to educate people about what is going on, not only about the current epidemic, but about the dangers of addiction. We've heard just say no. We've heard all the different ideas out there. Well, today you have not only marijuana, which has been around forever, you have something called, I think it's called flakka. On the way here today, we actually saw somebody we called the police because of it, that looked like they were on flakka and moving their hands around. I've never seen anything where they almost walked into the middle of the street. Flakka, if you're not familiar, is a synthetic marijuana. So people say marijuana is not dangerous. This isn't marijuana, it's synthetic, it's made up, it's from what I've heard, you can actually buy it in a store because it's sold as if it's an incense that you're supposed to smell and not smoke. Well, it's synthetic, it's not real, and it affects your brain, and it has some drastic effects. So it's not just heroin, it's every drug that we have to worry about. So educate, you have to educate everybody. I have 2 young children that I'm constantly trying to educate. I am scared to death. One's starting high school now, one's in middle school, and just knowing that is when a lot of kids start using and experimenting. We have to watch. We are not our kids' friends, we are their parents. We have to watch, and my parents did a great job. I know that Amber's did also, and unfortunately it still happens. We have to watch that. The third goal that I set was to celebrate recovery. You've met several people already up here that have long-term recovery. Celebrating recovery, I think, is vital to it. Understanding, and once again, it's empathy. If we would just have empathy, I think we could help a lot of people, and it could snowball on it. Celebrating recovery is understanding that these people that are addicted are sick and they need help. They are fighting every single day. Okay, just because they stop using doesn't mean, okay, I'm done, it's over with. It's not just some magic medicine that can make them stop using. They need help all the time. They are trying, they're going to groups, they're talking to people, they're helping other people. Like I said, a lot of them are able to stay clean by helping other people. So celebrate recovery. If you know somebody, celebrate it with them. That doesn't mean you're going to publicize anything about them, but celebrate, be proud of them, show the love. I mean, all my 3 goals come down to love, really. I mean, if you love people, you have to just show that respect. Respect them, show love. Like I said, it's the loss of Amber is something that's going to be a hole in my heart forever, as well as my family's. I'm grateful so much that my sister made me the godfather for Amber. I rushed in the room when she was born. I'll never forget that for as long as I live. I'm honored that she's standing up here with me. But I also want to talk about one final thing before I pass through. And that is hope. Okay, I talked about celebrating recovery. I talked about the stigma. I talked about education. There is hope. Okay, and we've seen that tonight. People with long-term recovery. I have several people in my family that suffer the disease of addiction. I'm honored, I'm humbled that they are actually going to be speaking next after me about their long-term recovery. We may have lost somebody, but we also have people that are struggling to make it every day, and they are so involved in the recovery lifestyle. I'm just so impressed to see what they could do and how they help people. And when I asked them if they would like to speak, they were humbled and honored themselves, where I'm the one that was honored that they would actually do this, that they would put themselves up here in public to speak about their stories. You know, so I'm just honored that they were able to do this. I'm honored and I'm proud of their recovery. It's not easy, and I think they deserve, and everybody in recovery deserves, just a great round of applause. If you could give everybody in recovery a round of applause for me, please. So with that, I am speaking. The reason I'm speaking is I'm speaking for Amber. Like I said, I believe in my heart and in my soul that Amber wants me to do this. She wanted to help people, and I believe in my heart she's doing it. I wrote down some stuff. I looked at the goals, and that was about it. You know, I think I'm being spoken through, and I hope it touches somebody to help somebody. You know, if you need help, please reach out. I'm willing to help out, and all the people at these various booths, as well as people in attendance, I know will help out. With that, I'd like to introduce two people that are going to talk about their recovery and the hope it is there. First, my stepbrother, Russ. Making sure I didn't break the protocol here.
Hello, family. I'm Russ. It's always humble and honor, you know, to do anything in service anytime I'm asked. And I was taught you suit up, you show up, and you carry the message of what I've been taught. And can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. A little nervous. You know how the jitters kick in. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right. My sobriety date's 11/22/12. You know, I mean, I'm a firm believer it's only through God's grace and the mercy that I was given the luxury down at the Allegheny County Jail, and the 3 hots in the cot. All right. I mean, that's exactly what I needed at that point in time in my life. You know, I mean, growing up, it was like, you know, my family gave me everything I ever wanted, man. Like, I never wanted for anything. There was 5 of us, and there was always other siblings in my house. You know, my mom was an alcoholic. You know, my dad worked his tail off in order to pay all the bills. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what it came down to. And then I started drinking and using when I was probably about 8 years old. You know what I mean? And I started acting out. But I know once I put that chemical in me that, like, something had taken over, where I finally felt a part of something, and I felt able to talk to people and communicate with people, and that's what I continue to strive for through my whole adolescent years. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I got locked up when I was about 12 years old. I got out when I was about 19. You know. Then I let my brother move in with me, and the reason I let my brother move in with me was because he was my ways and means to get more alcohol. You know, and then it was like, you know, I was the frat house. Everybody in the neighborhood wanted to come to my house. They wanted a party because I had the ways and means. But I had the failure and the understanding that, like, oh, maybe I got to pay bills. You know, I didn't understand that they shut lights off when you didn't pay light bills. You know what I mean? I had no living skills whatsoever. You know what I mean? And I just ripped and ran, man. Like, people ask me where I'm from, man, and I really can't give you an honest answer because I lived in every area code in the city of Pittsburgh, man. I ran for me my whole life. You know what I mean? And I can never understand when I call my parents, they're like, I'm worried about you. And I'm like, well, why are you worried? Like, you know what I mean? They're like, I'm afraid I'm going to get that phone call that you're dead. You know, and I couldn't even register that feeling or my thought because I couldn't feel. You know what I mean? I couldn't understand why I was so depressed, wanting to kill myself. I don't know, maybe because I'm drinking a depressant. You know what I mean? And it was like, you know, you're bipolar, you're all these other things, but I couldn't understand. I was self-medicating my whole life, you know? I used many sedatives. I did it all, man. You know what I mean? I'm not innocent. you know, I was taught you suit up and you show up, and I guarantee you if I took my shirt off, I got tattoos everywhere, people always look at me, you know what I mean, and I just kind of like chuckle, because it's like, it's not what's on the outside, it's what's carried on the inside, and it's like what you do for the other person that needs help. I mean, that's what I'm taught, you know what I mean, and so by the grace of God, I finally got into an altercation with a police officer on 11/21/12, and I was incarcerated in Allegheny County Jail. And I failed to be honest with my family that I had relapsed, you know what I mean, because I wanted to keep that image going. So my dad, he was like, I'll bail you out, this is the last time, you know what I mean? 19 hours later, I'm back in the Allegheny County Jail. Winning, you know. So I was incarcerated for about 9 months. I'm facing 22 to 32 years in the penitentiary. You know what I mean? I'd screwed up pretty good, man. And it's like, I was at the point where it was like, you know, that weight was finally lifted off my shoulder. Like, I knew at that moment in time, I was willing to accept anything that came down the pike at that point. So if that meant me going upstate for a couple decades, that meant me going upstate, you know? I had the 3 wise men in the city of Pittsburgh, man. It was like I was always afraid of the cops and everything else, but it was like, the thing was, is like I was always doing something illegal. You know what I mean? So therefore, I was that's who I was. You know what I mean? So I had Judge Mariani, Judge Sazanowski, and Judge Durkin. You know what I mean? And they're the worst judges to have in the city. And the fact was, is like I go in front of Mariani, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And my lawyer's like, you know, Your Honor, he's an addict. You know, blah blah blah. And the judge looked at me and he said, well, who's to say I'm not going to let him out of jail right now? He's going to go to the bar and party. And I'm like, this dude's good, like, you know what I mean? So then, you know, my lawyer that she was just like, hey, you know, he has mental health issues. And the judge is like, well, what happens when his welfare runs out and he can no longer take the prescribed medication he needs to take in order to be a productive member of society? What do I do then? And I was like, damn. You know, see, the program teaches us about these spiritual experiences, these spiritual awakenings. And when the judge read my rap sheet from the age of 18 to then, 32, I wanted to throw up. Because if I would have died that night, that's how they would have remembered me. You know what I mean? And I said in my heart, and at that point in time, that, like, you know what, I was going to do anything in my power to not be the man that I once was. You know what I mean? I got out. I went to a 3/4 way house by the grace of God, man, and there's a group full of men, man, I owe my life to today, man. I truly do, man, because they made me the man that I am today, man. Like, hands down, man. They taught me how to be a dad. You know, they taught me how to be a business owner. They taught me how to balance a checkbook. You know, they taught me how to pay taxes. You know what I mean? And it's all because of the guys in the program. Like, see, I was always the guy that would go to the program, and I'd find a girl, you know, I'd get a truck, then I'd get the apartment, then I'd get the hostage. You know what I mean? It was like 30, 60, 90, and then I'd see you later. You know what I mean? I couldn't understand why people didn't like me. You know what I mean? Because I was unwilling to take any suggestion that anybody set forth in front of me, because I felt Russ knew what Russ needed to do, and you just didn't want to help me. You know what I mean? And that was a little over 3 years ago, man. And like Sid said, man, my life has taken, like, it's amazing. You know what I mean? I got a construction company now. I had 3/4 way houses to help others. You know what I mean? And my sponsor family's like, you know, the most important thing in our life is to help the new guy, man, period. You know what I mean? I go up to the guy that's shaking in the meeting. I know he's nervous. He's like a deer in headlights, man, and I'm like right to him. You know what I mean? Because I felt the emptiness, the despair. You know, there's nothing left, man. I burnt every bridge. Every single bridge I'd come across. Like, when I got out, I didn't even know what I was going to do. I truly didn't. My only lifeline to the outside world was my dad, and he almost like didn't pick up the phone, because he was like, you need to treat me with a little respect. You know what I mean? The program taught me respect. You know what I mean? That's why, like, I take my hat off when I go to the podium. You know, I suit up anytime I'm asked to speak, because it's respect. The respect that other men gave me, it's my turn to give back to them. You know what I mean? And so I'm part of this young people thing, and you know, it's been a wild 3 years, man. To watch kids like 18, 19 years old get sober and stay sober, and get active in the program, and help other guys in the program. Like, it's just like, to see that light go off in that guy's eyes, man, it's crazy, man. It's like, that's payment within itself, you know what I mean? That truly is, man. And we just had a conference last weekend down at the Marriott. Man, it was a God-centered conference, man. God was definitely there, man. And a lot of people are intimidated by God, but like that's the only reason why I stand before you today, man. Because like, if I got what I deserved, I'd be dead or in a penitentiary for the rest of my life. And that's the harsh reality of the situation, you know what I mean? And actually, in about an hour, we're headed to Nashville because I'm going to another conference, and so about 6 people are meeting up at my house, and we're gonna head down there. I never in my wildest dreams think that I would travel around the United States, you know what I mean? Like I had this one square in my life, and I was afraid to leave that block. You know what I mean? It was like I was so engulfed in fear. Like the program told me that I suffer from 100 forms of fear, and when I was able to work through that with my sponsor, I was able to identify 68 of them. You know what I mean? I couldn't understand why I was so angry all the time, and the reason why I was so angry was because I was holding resentments. And it told me that resentments resentments will kill me, man. You know what I mean? For me to have a resentment is to drink it. For me to drink is to die. Hands down, plain and simple. When I drink, man, I get in trouble, I go to jail. That's the bottom line, man. I can't drink. Like somebody asked me, like, why don't you drink? And I'm like, because I don't feel like going to jail today. You know what I mean? Like, that's the harsh reality of the situation in my life. And like, I don't even think about drinking anymore, man. I really don't. You know, that session is truly, God's lifted that for me. You know, and that's an utter blessing, man. It truly is. You know what I mean? By any means am I exempt, man. You know, there's certain things you have to do in this program in order to stay exempt, and that's to continue to carry the message and continue to help the guy that's still suffering. You know what I mean? There's guys I don't talk to and I choose not to because they haven't done anything to change their life. But then there's guys that I choose to reach my hand out to because they want a new way of life. You know what I mean? It tells me in the book that anybody that's unwilling to accept what I'm willing to give, then it's a waste of my time. And then I have to move forward because I can't waste my time on somebody who doesn't need help. You know what I mean? The book was sheerly designed for my way of life. You know what I mean? Every time I read it, something else speaks different to me, man. And it's just, it's a blessing. It's a humble blessing, man. And I wanted to keep this brief and short and sweet. And it's always an honor. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Russ. That's a tough act to follow. How honest is he? Thank you so much, Russ. Walt? Walt. Okay, I'm waiting for Walt to come up.
Hello, everybody. My name's Walt. I'm an addict. I want to thank Lou and I want to thank Russ for speaking before me. It's really amazing when I hear other addicts talk, and our stories are so similar. Different, but similar. And I related to a lot of what Russ had to say. Just to clarify, my clean date, 6/29/09, so I've been clean a little over 7 years. Now look, I've been trying to get this shit since about '02, so it's not easy. I've had more clean time than time out in the streets since '02, but it's definitely been a little bit of a struggle, you know, and I definitely do this program one day at a time. That's what I was taught, and it took a while for that to kick in too, you know. I'm a simple person, and the program is simple, so it kind of works to my benefit. You know, as long as I don't try and complicate things, things go well for me. I'm apt to complicate them more often than not. I was born into a very good family. Like Russ, I had everything I needed and wanted. You know, it was nobody's fault but mine that I decided to do what I needed to do, and it led to a terrible life. You know, chose to start drinking in my early teens, and always said I was never going to do this and I was never going to do that. And after I never smoked marijuana, I smoked marijuana, and then it led to pills, to cocaine, and more pain pills, which led to heroin, crack cocaine. I've done just about everything that I never wanted to do, but I survived. And that's what's happening today. People are surviving, but a lot of people are not. And it seems calling it an epidemic, and I truly believe it is. I've been to so many funerals since I've been involved in recovery that I can't count it. You know, and a lot of times it's a surprise, but sometimes it's not. You see people going down the wrong road. You try and help somebody, but when they're not willing, like Russ said, you're just wasting your breath and wasting your time. You know, so I try to be discerning today. I always have a helping hand out, but I'm not going to waste my time on you if you're not willing to do something for yourself, because there's other people that are willing to do something for themselves, and I need to be there for them. Took a lot of suggestions from the program. It took a while for me to get kicked into it, but you know, I have a sponsor and I have a home group, and I'm very involved in. And I work the steps in my program, and I try and do it on a daily basis. One thing I know is I'm not perfect, and I got to give myself a break every once in a while. You know, still beat myself up a lot for not doing things to the best of my ability, but you know, I just keep trying. Keep coming back. It's one of our sayings, just keep coming back. And a lot of people have gotten some significant clean time by continuing to come back. After working the steps and being in the program for a while, you know, my life started to change for the good. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. What I got from working all these steps with sponsors was a sense of what I need to do in my life today. And what I need to do for me in my life today is to try and help somebody else. So I'm always trying to do that. I have a hospitals and institution commitment that I take somebody in and we pass the message of recovery to other people. I also speak for those H&I commitments for other people. It's been what I've been doing this week, and it's not normal for me. But this week I had my H&I, and I was also asked to speak in an H&I. So I'm doing a lot of giving this week, and it really does my heart well. You know, look, I know for me that when I'm doing some of the things that like are really not of me, like all the giving, you know, and believe me, I'm not perfect at it, you know. I do my best to try, and that it's not me. There's a power greater than myself working in me today, and this program has brought me closer to Him. I'm very connected with that power, and I do what it takes to stay there, and I know that what I need to do is continue to try and help people on a regular basis, and I sponsor a few guys in the program. Some are more willing than others, and when they want help, I give it to them. You know, I'm willing to help them through the steps. I'm willing to help somebody get to a meeting. You know, but if you just want to sponsor a name, I'm really, you know, I ain't doing you no good. So it depends on your level of commitment, how much you'll get from me. My life today is really fantastic from where it was some 15, 17 years ago. I was just a junkie from the street that needed something from everybody, money, drugs, whatever. You know, I was a taker. That's what I was. This program has turned me around, and today I choose to give. So that's my message. You know, you need to stop being a taker and start being a giver. And through that, and doing the right thing, you know, I'm giving a lot of things that Russ was talking about. You know, I run my own business, I do my own show. You know, it's responsible to me. You know, I pay my taxes today. I pay my bills. You know, and I got a few things. You know, find out that things come with bills, more bills. You know, so look, that's what normal people do. So I'm just trying to live up to, try and get normal. Probably never going to happen for me. You know, my head always goes out. And thank God for the steps of Narcotics Anonymous. I'm not supposed to say that. I just broke a tradition. I apologize. Look, the steps of my program helped me to be the person that I am today, and I just want to thank y'all for being here. and thank Lou for having me.
Oh, that's so cool. What do we got next, Andy? Okay. Does anyone else care to come up and say a few words? Jocelyn? Okay. Jocelyn would like to speak to us.
I'm Jocelyn. I'm a grateful recovering addict. I'm new into the recovery. I only have about 45 days, but those 45 days I do cherish. It was a long and hard journey, that's for sure. I've been to about 15 rehabs. I have 3 younger brothers and a 7-year-old daughter. My mom stood behind me through it all. She's never left my side. She's my rock. I've lost a lot of friends due to addiction. I got high with my stepdad for many years. And although, I thought that it was a great relationship, as he's laying in Allegheny General Hospital in a coma, I have to think back to the fact that that wasn't a relationship at all.